605-341-5361, 680 North La Crosse Street, Rapid City. We are hometown, we are South Dakota, and we do appreciate your business. 605-341-5361.
At Highmark Credit Union, we are big sports fans, and even bigger fans of our teachers. That's why we offer debit cards featuring our local high school mascots on the front. These cards are awesome, and every time you use your card, Highmark makes a donation to the school activity clubs. Highmark has donated over $5,000 locally to Rapid City and Douglas schools. So make the smart money move, show your school spirit, and open an account at Highmark. Visit highmarkfcu.com.
Stuck in a state of falling behind? Struggling to keep up with your kids, your finances, your insurance, your life? This is State Farm Agent Matt McCormick. Let me help you simplify and get to a better state. With me handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else. Even more money, too. Because adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40%. Call me, State Farm Agent Matt McCormick, and get to a better state with State Farm. 348-0464.
Collins Siding has been the region's premier window siding, door, and gutter installation specialist since 1974. They use only the highest quality materials and never compromise on their workmanship. Collins Siding is licensed, bonded, and their estimates always include labor, materials, and applicable permits and taxes. Collins Siding has been providing top quality service and exceeding high standards for over 45 years, and you can find out how by visiting them at 2016 Cherry Avenue. Collins Siding, 2016 Cherry Avenue, Rapid City.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
Game 2 of the National League Championship Series is currently in the 6th inning in Los Angeles. The Mets lead the Dodgers by a score of 6-1. The Mets quickly ended the Dodgers' 33 consecutive scoreless inning streak as Francisco Lindor led off the game with a solo home run. And then it was Mark Vientos' grand slam in the 2nd inning, giving the Mets a 6-0 lead. Max Muncy has hit a solo home run for the Dodgers to pull within 5. You can see it right now on Fox. Mets on top of the Dodgers 6-1. Dodgers leading the series 1-0. American League Championship Series, Guardians and Yankees getting underway at 7:38 Eastern Time. Now that's going to be on TBS tonight. Anthony Rizzo is on the ALCS roster for New York. Also, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift will reportedly be in attendance for tonight's game. 49ers open the practice window for wide receiver Ricky Pearsall, who missed the start of the year with a gunshot wound to the chest. Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel says the plans for Tua Tagovailoa to return this season.
Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, great interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, welcome in. We're ready to go on a big Monday. Glad you're here. The Nate Brown Show ready on our new home in Sioux Falls. Welcome everybody on Fox Sports 98.1 AM 1230 KWSN, and of course here on Fox Sports Rapid City. It is South Dakota Sports Talk Show, and say it with me, you'll get used to this. It's always a great day in South Dakota, and we're out of the gate, ready to roll. Great lineup tonight. A lot of ways for you to interact with the show. Everybody listening across the state now, we're going to be covering everything from high school to college to the pros, and we'll have some fun while we do it. So welcome in. Thanks for making this show possible. Let's get out of the gate. South Dakota Sports Talk Show streaming there on X as well. You can find us at Nate Brown Show. So if you're just tuning in, how do we find you on social? We're there on X, Twitter, at Nate Brown Show, and we have our YouTube channel live and ready, The Nate Brown Show on YouTube as well. And of course, right here, Fox Sports 98.1 AM 1230 KWSN and Fox Sports Rapid City. Let's look at the lineup, and then we'll get popping today on a Monday. Get you on the text line and all the new stuff that maybe you haven't had for a while on KWSN. So let's get going. Look at the lineup tonight. Voice of the Vikings, he's in tonight. The great Paul Allen. You guys know him. PA on the mic, Vikings voice, Paul Allen from The Fan, coming up as we kick the show off tonight. Vikings bye week, sitting 5-0. Now it's Lions week. You look at the Lions yesterday. Not a bad game, huh, against the Cowboys. So what does it look like for the Vikes? That's a huge game, maybe the biggest across the league. Voice of the Vikings, Paul Allen's going to join us. And then our friend from Sioux Falls, Stu Whitney's going to pop in, longtime sports writer for the Argus Leader, now with South Dakota Newswatch. Stu reached out to me and said, hey, when you get this thing going, I want to welcome you to Sioux Falls. Well, we're going to get a welcome from Stu Whitney. A lot to discuss with him, high school across the board. Also covering the FCS. Huge week for FCS football. South Dakota State, North Dakota State, national TV Saturday night, ESPN2. Mike McFeely covers the FCS for Inforum.com. Mike McFeely on tap tonight. And we'll go to the high school ranks as well. High school football discussion with Jason Andera live. His show's on YouTube. It's called Inside the 605. Jason Andera straight ahead tonight. Okay, how do you get in touch with the show? Our studio listener line, not up and running, okay? We're going to go text line, okay? So how do you get in touch with the show? Your interaction on the Barron's Wilson listener text line. So you can text us, 720-1067, okay? Got to go 605-720-1067. That's how you get in touch with the show. So if you want to interact, answer the question of the day, all the good stuff that we're going to do as we get this thing popping across South Dakota, the listener text line, very important number. So you got it now, right? Nobody remembers phone numbers. You've got it, though, 605-720-1067. That's how you hit us on the Barron's Wilson listener text line. So that's for you. All right. Just because it's new across the state, and maybe this is good for the audience that's been here with me the last 7 years as well, let's go a Cliff Notes version of my broadcast career. I have to introduce myself a little bit across South Dakota. Let's go Cliff Notes version, and then I'll get into the opener on this Monday. So I've been in South Dakota now almost 25 years. I mean, I'm kind of becoming an old man now. Almost 25 years covering sports in South Dakota. I'm an upper Midwest guy. Where am I from? I'm from the great state of Montana. And here's my story. From Montana, came to South Dakota. Then I spent some time in Washington, D.C. You're not going to believe this. Worked for the first sports highlight TV show. Do you guys remember this, you sports fans? The George Michael Sports Machine. You know the George Michael Sports Machine, I hope. NBC, usually like late Sunday nights. So I worked on that show, and I remember eating pecan pie leading up to the show every Sunday night. I worked on that show. George Michael was one of the first, covered all the national games that took you inside the sports machine. So after the George Michael Sports Machine days where I covered, when was that? Steve Spurrier in Washington. That's when he took his shot in the NFL. Doug Collins and Michael Jordan's last days with the Washington Wizards. So that's where I was. And then my love for local, regional sports, South Dakota sports. I started off doing a morning radio show. You know how you start in this business, morning radio. Then I asked my boss a long time ago, hey, why don't we cover high school sports? That was my passion. I wanted to be this play-by-play announcer. Why don't we cover high school sports? I somehow talked him into it. So we started covering high school sports. That's my play-by-play career long time ago, 100,000-watt country station. Then I went to Billings, Montana, my home state, started a sports radio station there, covered the Montana State Bobcats, the Montana Grizzlies. Then I said, hey, we got to get back to SD. Back to South Dakota I come. That brings us through a college athletics run. I worked in college athletics for a few years. But you just can't get out of the media business. So I thought, I'm going to start my own sports media company. That's where we're at today, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. And we're going East River to West River. This show's going to cover it all. And I have a rule, okay? I have a rule. You may not love every segment, but we're going to plan the show, but we're not going to script the show. So we're not going to goof around the whole time. We're going to talk sports. Well, we're not going to script everything out. We don't have a staff of 15 people writing everything to say. So we want to be interactive with you. And by the way, speaking of somebody that puts a lot of work into the show, thanks for making this show possible. You're going to want to follow this guy, the producer of the Nate Brown Show. You'll hear him a lot as we do this program, Matt Kearney. Okay? Matt Kearney's ready to go, one of the best sports media members in the state. When you're talking coverage of high school sports, you want to get plugged in on high school, you got to follow Matt Kearney on Twitter. He's there, at Matt Kearney. So you've got him. He's a big part of the show as we get this thing going. And lastly, thank you to Tom and everybody at KWSN. We're on in Sioux Falls. A lot of people put a lot of work into it. We appreciate the opportunity. So let's get this thing going. The Nate Brown Show live and ready. Great guest lineup. There's the Cliff Notes version, okay? I mean, I'm an old man. I had to run through it all for you so you kind of know which way I'm coming. By the way, I covered South Dakota high school football back in the day out there in Sioux Falls when you had Coach Hermanson at Washington, Coach Keeter over at O'Gorman. Shows you how old I am, okay? So I have a little background in some Sioux Falls football success. Okay, let's start this show with something that I want to throw out on the text line, okay? So you're just tuning in. Let's throw out a competition. Our first friendly, this is always friendly, East River versus West River competition. East River versus West River between the listeners. I'll throw out the text line, and you text the show where you're listening from, okay? You text the show where you're listening from, and I'm going to give away a $100 gift card to Shenanigans in Sioux Falls for a Sioux Falls listener at the end of this week. And I'll give away a $100 gift card to a text line listener to the Skybox Firehouse downtown Rapid City for a Rapid City listener. Okay? And a little, how about a little friendly East River, West River competition out of the gate? So the text line, all you have to do to enter the contest on the Nate Brown Show, text 605-720-1067, where you're listening from. I want to see where we have it across the state, East River to West River, where you're listening from. I'll select 2 winners the end of this week. We'll set you up with $100 to Shenanigans. By the way, Shenanigans, one of our first partners out in Sioux Falls, sponsoring our Mark Gronowski interview with the quarterback of the Jacks every week. So we'll go $100 to Shenanigans for a Sioux Falls listener. We'll go $100 to the Firehouse for a Rapid City listener. All right, that's what I'll throw out to you, just out of my pocket, just out of the friendly confines of South Dakota Sports Talk Show. All right, so now you know. Text us. We'll get that going. I just want to get a picture of where everybody's at. Sioux Falls to Rapid City. Let's get started. All right. I want to get to this before we get to Paul Allen in about 10 minutes. So here's a couple of things I noticed. Over the weekend, and really over the last couple of weeks. Is South Dakota State, and I'll even throw in USD, is South Dakota State and USD and North Dakota State, which has been at the top for a long time, are they so far ahead of the Missouri Valley Football Conference that these other programs won't catch up? So you tell me where this is standing, because there's a lot of talk about college football and college realignment. There's always a discussion about, is the FCS healthy? Is South Dakota State on the verge of jumping out of the FCS? And then there's always a debate among sports fans across this state. Well, we should stay FCS. We're the big dog in the FCS. Well, the FCS has lost all these teams over the years. And then you bring it down to the micro level, the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Let's just look at some of the results. The reason I throw in the Coyotes here, you Coyote fans have to look at this and say, hey, nice year last year and a bounce back year, and now you got a big year right now, ranked number 4 in the country. So you got USD that rolled Southern Illinois a few weeks ago, 42-13. USD blasts UNI Saturday. They just blasted Northern Iowa 42-17. Now, these are programs, by the way, in the Missouri Valley. You guys know this. They're pretty good, usually. Southern Illinois has been okay. Northern Iowa has been strong. And you've got the Coyotes blasting Southern Illinois, blasting Northern Iowa. Let's go to South Dakota State. Same story. But we expect this from SDSU, ranked number 1 in the country. But when you put it all together, SDSU blast Northern Iowa 41-3 a couple of weeks ago. They beat Youngstown State. That wasn't even a contest on Hobo Day. It wasn't even a contest from the start. Opening kickoff return, 99 yards for a touchdown. And the Jacks just ran over Youngstown State, 63-13. So I'm bringing this into the question of the day, and you can follow us at Nate Brown Show on Twitter if you want to sound off. With SDSU and USD and North Dakota State winning their games blowout city in the conference, do you ever think the rest of the conference will come back? I don't think it's just recency bias totally. I think it's a legitimate comment, a legitimate question you can ask, because I look through the conference and I go, hey, if the Northern Iowas are struggling like this, where's everybody else at? If Southern Illinois is getting blasted, they were a ranked team in the FCS. They were ranked at the beginning of the year, and they're just getting destroyed. If those programs are struggling in the Missouri Valley, what's left? And I ask this, Murray State, for example, new member there, Murray State, they brought in $155,000 in football revenue, Murray State. They bring in $750,000 in basketball revenue. They bring in 7 times as much in basketball. And Murray State's playing on the Missouri Valley Football Conference, $150,000 in football revenue. Northern Iowa's in arguments with their faculty and the budget process about even budgeting extra for athletics at this point. So my point is, does South Dakota State, USD, North Dakota State continue their dominance for years and years to come? And then that's the discussion you have. Where do we go from here? If the Missouri Valley, which was strong, one of the strongest conferences in FCS, has it fallen so far where the only investments being made, there's huge investments being made by SDSU and USD. There's huge investments, a lot of buy-in. Here in South Dakota, people don't know this. On the college athletics side, we have to raise all of our own money. Well, what do you mean everybody has to do that? No. The state doesn't support athletic scholarships. Like you guys understand that. The State Board of Regents in our funding model does not support athletic scholarships. That includes SDSU and USD. This is all privately fundraised. For scholarships, they got to get sponsorships, donors, the whole thing. So our budgets already start at a disadvantage, yet we're the only ones making huge strides at the FCS level in this conference. And so big a strides, is this just a flash in the pan for USD? Some people, reaction on X here. Follow us at Nate Brown Show reaction. Let's slow the roll on USD being at the top of the Missouri Valley. It's been SDSU and NDSU at the top since 2011. No, I get that. I get that. But I'm just looking at this season. USD ranked number 4 in the country. They haven't been touched by teams in the Missouri Valley. As a matter of fact, USD and South Dakota State, their closer games have been against D2 schools here in the state. SDSU got by Augie, but it was closer than the Northern Iowa game. USD, they beat Northern, but it was closer than some of these other games, okay? So this is one of those things you look at and you say, how far away is the Missouri Valley right now? I mean, I think this type of stuff happens quick. You think Indiana State, Illinois State, Youngstown State, these schools are going to invest at the level we're investing to compete in the FCS? If you look at it, the national FCS rankings, South Dakota State 1, North Dakota State 2, Montana State 3, it's USD 4. And after that, there's hardly anybody there. Okay? Answer our question of the day. Will the rest of the Missouri Valley ever compete again? USD, SDSU, NDSU on top, big time this year. Will the rest of the conference invest and compete again in football? 720-1067. That's the text line. Text in your answer. We'll get to it. 605-720-1067. The voice of the Vikings gets us started next. We'll talk to Paul Allen on the way.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Our locally owned Ace stores are committed to helping our neighbors and our communities. And because we're in the neighborhood, we can deliver almost anything you need. So shop in store or online for whatever your home or yard needs. Choose from top brands like Milwaukee, Steel, Traeger, and Benjamin Moore. Then pick up in-store, curbside, or we'll deliver your order right to your home. Around the block, what you need in stock, with people who know how to help. See acehardware.com for details.
Football season is back, and no matter which home team you root for, there's one thing everyone in the Midwest can agree on. If you're tailgating or grilling at home, nothing beats a freshly baked Village Hearth bun. An old-fashioned hot dog bun is the perfect accompaniment for a brat or a hot dog and all the toppings your little heart desires. And for the best burgers, you just can't beat the Village Hearth Classic Bun. So head to the store and pick up some Village Hearth buns. The weekend is almost here.
In the past, if you needed auto body repair, you had to get multiple estimates and then try to get your car into a shop for repair. Well, not anymore. In most cases, you can stop by one shop, get your estimate, and schedule your car for a repair. The question now becomes which shop you choose. If you like quality, choose J&J Truck and Auto Body. They have ASE, PPG, and Gold iCar certifications that allow them to offer you a nationwide warranty. And they'll work with your insurance company so you're pleased with the outcome. J&J Truck and Auto Body, 1513 East Philadelphia.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. High of 72 this afternoon under clear skies, northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, lows level off around 36. Daytime highs approaching 62. Tomorrow, clear skies. Bright sunshine Wednesday with a high of 86. 78, slight chance of rain showers Thursday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently 72.
Get ready for the ultimate basketball showdown at Wautiki Fall Hoop Fest, November 8th through the 10th at the Box Elder Event Center. Assemble your winning team and compete in divisions for 6th through 12th grade. Boys and girls enjoy special Courtyard by Marriott room rates and Wautiki Water Park passes for all players. Register for the Wautiki Fall Hoop Fest at the Box.live. Deadline's November 1st. The Box Elder Event Center.
If you want the peace of mind that your next pre-owned vehicle is the best it can be, you want Honda True. And you only find it at Danny Manholt Rushmore Honda. Our Honda certified pre-owned vehicles are thoroughly inspected and backed by 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage, up to 2 complimentary oil changes, 24/7 roadside assistance, inspection report, and 3-day exchange. You simply can't buy the wrong vehicle. Search our inventory at honda-true.com or see us at Denny Manholt Rushmore Honda.
Hi, this is David Brenneman with Coldwell Banker, Black Hills Legacy in Rapid City. Have you thought about buying a home or real estate in the Black Hills? Maybe you want to upgrade to your forever home? I have been helping people in the Black Hills find the right home for nearly 20 years. When it comes to buying or selling, experience matters. Let me do the work and you can open the door to your new home. Say hello to a good buy with me, David Brenneman. To get started, just Google David Brenneman, Coldwell Banker.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown
Hey, welcome back in South Dakota Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show live. Thanks for following us on Twitter at Nate Brown Show. You can watch us live there. Welcoming in across South Dakota, Fox Sports 98.1 AM 1230 KWSN, and of course here on Fox Sports Rapid City. Oh, we finally made it. I've been in South Dakota almost 25 years, and we finally made it across the state to unite the state of South Dakota. We've made it. All right. I'm excited to talk to this guy. This guy's a pro. I listen to him a lot. You can hear him on The Fan, of course. Great show. And then, of course, the voice of the Vikings. He's on Twitter at PA on the mic. It is PA on the mic. It is Paul Allen, voice of the Vikings, here on the Nate Brown Show. Paul, welcome in. I appreciate you coming on. How are you?
What's up there, my brother? Nice to meet you and privileged to be on.
Well, I appreciate your time. Let's get right into this thing. I'm going to get your read on the Vikings, but I want to ask you what you thought yesterday watching the Lions. It's Lions week for the Vikings. What do you think of the Lions blasting the Cowboys yesterday?
Right. Well, I mean, with the team to beat in the division, which is the Lions and probably still is, that's first and foremost. They came off a bye, and they were all their plan against the Cowboys, specifically the defense, was super high end. Secondly, and most pertinently, they're not going to have Aiden Hutchinson, the defensive end who broke his tibia. One of the very best pass rushers as defensive linemen go in the NFL, along with the likes of T.J. Watt. So that's going to be a big blow for them into the Vikings game. And thirdly, they're it's not that anybody, whether it's the South Dakota audience or those here in Minnesota or those who follow it closely, nobody's surprised when the Lions display high-end offensive prowess. But, I mean, it got to a point yesterday where they were just clowning on the Cowboys. I mean, they're throwing passes to the right tackle, Penei Sewell. They're pitching it to the right tackle. They're throwing it to the left tackle. And they played about as supremely confident, yesterday as I've seen the team all year. So they're very good.
Voice of the Vikings, Paul Allen, on the Nate Brown Show, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Does Jared Goff get a bad rap, Paul? I mean, he goes to the Super Bowl with the Rams. Then they get rid of him, essentially. And now I think people are like, well, he's okay. What do you say?
Well, I've always felt he, at least from a public standpoint, which to a large extent is guided by fantasy football, that he's one of the most underrated players in the NFL. I'll just never forget a game we had against him in 2018, and we were out at the LA Coliseum. And, his passer rating was perfect, whatever that is, like 158.3. He had 5 touchdowns and 0 picks. And it's the only perfect passer rating against the Vikings in the history of Vikings football. So when you do that, you're able to guide a team to the Super Bowl, despite the head coach, Sean McVay, getting, all the shine and all the credit, and rightfully so. I mean, Sean's brilliant, but the quarterback absolutely has something to do with that. And the thing that Jared is underrated is he hangs in the pocket knowing he's going to get smacked and unfurls good passes. So, yeah, Jared Goff's terrific. It's like he's kind of like, a modern-day, like Eli Manning, all right? I mean, Eli, if you look at his regular seasons throughout his career, he's probably not going to the Hall of Fame. Then you recognize he's a 2-time Super Bowl MVP. And Goff, in postseason time, he's super reliable.
Okay, I want to ask you about the Vikings now. They're 5-0. You've covered the Vikings a long time. You've been around some great teams. What does the 5-0 feel like now?
Well, I think the bye hit at a good time, believe it or not, and it's super early. I mean, I think this is the second week of bye week. So, from a preferential standpoint, if you can hand pick it, you probably want it around weeks 9, 10, or 11. But why I say it hit at a good time is Aaron Jones, who's amazingly key to this offense. And, it can be argued in different ways, about his status in this offense and how important he is compared to, like, Justin Jefferson. I mean, nobody's trying to run down probably the best receiver in the NFL. But when Justin went down last year, they found a way to win games. Aaron goes down in this game, and I'm telling you, man, everything changed. It's just, when you lose players during games, it makes it so much more difficult than if you as a team know that you're not going to have him up to the next game. Well, then you can practice around it. But when he went down, everything just got markedly more difficult for the quarterback. And Darnold had his first 0 touchdown game of the season. But the defense, found a way to help the team win. And that's why after the game, Kevin O'Connell, the head coach, he gave the defense, everybody on the defense, a team ball because they saved the day. So now, you hopefully Aaron can play against the Lions, but then you extrapolate it out of the bye after they tear some things down to make them better. And you look at, like, the second half of the Packers game, all right? Well, I mean, they're winning 28-0, and then all of a sudden the Packers are making plays against the Vikings defense we just had not seen during the year. Okay, you found a way to win the game. So what's next? Well, in the game in London, the defense arguably has not been better. Maybe in that Texans game. Holy cow, they were fantastic. And Van Ginkel gets another pick six. So, the defense was able to push through whatever happened in the second half at Lambeau, translate that to the offense with the quarterback, and, from the second half of the game against the Green Bay Packers to really the totality of the Jets game, into the Packers game, Darnold was number one in the NFL, getting in the red zone inside the 20 for touchdowns thrown and completion percentage, and he was either number one or close to number one for completions. Well, his last inside the 20 red zone completion took place with 5.5 minutes to go in the Green Bay game in the first half when he threw a touchdown to Jefferson. So inside the 20, where it gets tough and difficult and a little grimy, he went 0 of 2 in the second half of the Packers game and 0 of 2 in the Jets game. In fact, couldn't even get him inside the red zone for a fair amount of the game. So that bears following into this upcoming game.
Paul Allen's on tonight, South Dakota Sports Talk Show, the voice of the Vikings. Find him on Twitter at PA on the mic. Of course, you hear him on The Fan, and he's here on the Nate Brown Show. Kevin O'Connell, Paul, what do you like most about KOC's 25-14 as coach? Last year, all the injuries, Kirk Cousins, the big one. What do you like most about Kevin O'Connell?
Well, when O'Connell has his preferred quarterback, all right, not that 4-quarterback thing last year, he's won about 70% of his games. Okay, so you can start there. He's an elite offensive mind. In my 20-whatever years calling Vikings football, I can't remember a coordinator or a play caller able to get his best players, like Jefferson and Addison, matched up against safeties more than Kevin O'Connell does. Now, that's incumbent on having a good running threat, Aaron Jones, and a wonderful offensive line protecting, which he has. But O'Connell's offensive competitive arrogance, and that's a compliment, is very high. Secondly, he is as good as I've ever seen when it comes to working with players through problems. Ever since the pandemic hit and everything that went with it, a lot of the world changed. And I'm not one at 58 years of age to point at another generation and be like, get off my lawn. but I don't think it can be argued, those in their 20s and really, I don't know, high teens to low 30s, you just have to massage things a little differently than you did in the past. And he's really good at that. The term culture is overused and trite, quite honestly, in so many different arenas. That's not the case with the Minnesota Vikings because the culture change that's taken place here with him, his coaching staff, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, and his personnel staff, it's palpable. And I'm talking after losses, too. They lose games, and they're still the same people as if they come back from 33-0 against Indy. So he's wonderful at what he does, and I firmly believe the Vikings will get to a Super Bowl under Kevin O'Connell.
Oh, wow. Vikings 5-0, Lions 4-1. Paul Allen is on. You've got the game this weekend. What are you watching for in this matchup? I look at it, Paul, I said, I think the Vikings can score on this Lions defense. I think the Lions offense, can they score on the Vikings?
Excellent questions. From the Lions defense standpoint, the Aaron Glenn, their coordinator, and their defensive leaders, and Dan Campbell, their coach, they will galvanize this defense, and they will play we've lost our best player, everybody thinks we're going to fall off a cliff, and these guys have Justin Jefferson. Okay, so their defense is going to be all wound up. Brian Branch, their safety, who had a couple of picks yesterday, wow, he's a really good young player. Holy cow. So they're going to bring it, but O'Connell's going to know that. So he's going to have ways to hopefully take advantage of it. Secondly, from a Vikings defensive standpoint, they've been one of the best teams in the NFL this year stopping the run. And despite all the flash and all the tricks and reverses and double passes, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, they're fantastic. The Lions want to run, and they want to beat you up with that running game, and then they want to get flashy with Jahmyr Gibbs. So first and foremost, you have to stop David Montgomery and the run against the best, most physical offensive line you'll see all year, and a quarterback who's really good going play action, who knows how to get to the Super Bowl. This is going to be an awesome game, even without Aiden Hutchinson. The Lions are one of the 4 or 5 best teams in the NFL. Very organized, but you got to stop that run, man. You got to stop that run.
Paul Allen in tonight, Vikings voice on the Fan. He's on Twitter at PA on the mic. He's here on the Nate Brown Show. Last important question, Paul. Has your colleague Ben Lieber told you about his great state championship in Vermilion, South Dakota? Has he told you?
You know what? He's told us a lot about Vermilion, but Ben can be humble that way, so no, I haven't heard it. What is it?
Well, he's a state champion. Not too many of those out of Vermilion, South Dakota.
Football?
So, yeah.
Well, we knew about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought like maybe there was some javelin or pole vault or some type of 100-yard dash or something that I didn't know about.
The type of athlete he is, that could be. Paul, good to have you. I hope we can do it again. Really great to talk with you, and I appreciate your time.
Ain't no big deal, man. I really enjoyed it, and text anytime you need help.
All right, I appreciate that. Paul Allen tonight on the Nate Brown Show as we go across South Dakota Sports Talk Show with the voice of the Vikings, Paul Allen. He's on Twitter at PA on the mic. Vikings fan favorite, of course. His show is on The Fan. Vikings-Lions, game of the week in the NFL. Game of the week. You think about how tough the NFC North is. I got a bad time earlier this football season. Well, before the season started, I said, I think the Vikings will be in the mix in the NFC North. And a lot of Bears fans hit me, and everybody's coming after me. They said, what about the Lions and the Packers? And no, they're going to be good. And I think the Vikings are as well. Sam Darnold's been the X factor. The deal is with Sam, is he going to come back to the median? Is he going to come back to just middle of the pack? He was on fire early, 49ers, Texans, Packers first half. Is he going to come back to the middle? Is the Vikings defense good enough to make them an elite team still? I think we're going to find out because Detroit's balanced. Detroit's really balanced offensively and defensively. Lions, Vikings coming up. Voice of the Vikes on tonight. Let's go to Stu Whitney next. Longtime Sioux Falls sports writer on the way.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
There's many direct base for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds to share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
Are number one, so we can always be their number one. Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, number one hospital in the orthopedic surgery.
Small business here in the Black Hills, you want to make sure you choose the right banking partner, and I know the right choice for business is Black Hills Community Bank. They have plenty of banking options to suit your specific needs, and Black Hills Community Bank is here to help business owners thrive and to make sure you have the support and tools to help your business grow. Just contact one of their business loan experts today or visit bhcbank.com. Member FDIC.
Attention football fans. The BetMGM Sportsbook at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort has it all. Watch your team on massive high-definition screens while enjoying live betting. Keep some skin in the game even when the odds don't go your way. Enter Jack's second chance mulligan drawing by dropping your losing ticket for a shot at up to $200 in Cadillac cash every week. Satisfy your craving with mouth-watering Mexican cuisine from Guadalajara's or choose from 4 other food vendors, all while sipping on your favorite drinks. The BetMGM Sportsbook at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort. How will your game play out?
We're all going somewhere. Going higher, faster, farther. Going in new directions, to new places. At Monument Health, we keep going so you can keep going. We're dedicated to advanced orthopedic care. with the latest innovations, technology, expertise, and treatment. So keep exploring, keep making memories, keep going with Monument Health as your partner. Learn more at monument.health/orthopedics.
I'm with Brian from Anytime Auto Sales. Tell me what you got going on with all your fantastic little campers.
Well, if you've even been thinking about a camper, now's the time to buy, as you'll save up to $5,000 depending on the camper model. We're proud to feature Bushwhackers from Braxton Creek and the all-aluminum and fiberglass Rove lights from Travel Light.
That's right, with all the fiberglass and aluminum construction, there's no rusting, molding, or rotting on these travel lights.
Correct, and right now you'll get the best prices of the year. Save thousands on every ultralight teardrop and stand-up teardrop camper.
You just got to see these people. So many options for towing. No need for a diesel or big truck. Most SUVs have no problem towing these.
That's exactly right. With over a dozen floor plans, there's one just perfect for you.
Come get yours today, everybody, and save thousands on all campers.
Get here now, and you can save up to $5,000 depending on the model on campers still in our inventory.
Come check them out. See anytime.com, and as always at the corner of Highway 79 and East Minnesota.
Anytime Auto Sales.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk show.
Hey, glad to have you on board Your Sports, Your Show, the Nate Brown Show, South Dakota's sports talk show. Welcome you in. First friendly competition between East River and West River. First friendly competition. Text the text line where you're listening to the program from tonight. Are you listening in the Black Hills? Are you listening in Sioux Falls? Are you listening in Murdo? We're across the state. Text us 605-720-1067. That's the listener text line, and I want you to remember that number and interact with the show that way. So 605-720-1067. Text us, say, I'm listening from Del Rapids, I'm listening from Spearfish, wherever you're at. And I'm going to give a $100 gift card to Shenanigans for a Sioux Falls listener this week. I'll do $100 to Shenanigans. Have some Chislick on me, okay? I'll do $100 to the Firehouse for Rapid City listeners, okay? There you go. Stu Whitney is back on the Nate Brown Show, longtime sports writer for the Argus Leader, now a journalist for SD Newswatch. Stu, good to have you on. You said you're going to welcome me to Sioux Falls, so what do you say?
Well, this is a special day indeed. Anytime we can go statewide with a provocative radio show, I think it's a good thing for South Dakota. You know, getting some of that East River versus West River stuff. You and I have sparred on Twitter. We sparred on the radio, but now people can weigh in on these things. You know, the absolute atrocity that is high school football in Rapid City. How have they not won a state championship all these years? It's time to weigh in, and then you get people from the West River talking about their hard hats, talking about Post 22. Talking about high school wrestling, how Sioux Falls has struggled in that venue, and I think it's good content, and I think it's good for the state of South Dakota.
Well, I do appreciate that, Stu. By the way, I first met you over 20 years ago. You don't remember this. I was coming to cover Spearfish against Aberdeen Central, high school state championship, Spearfish versus Aberdeen Central, and I sat 2 spots down from you, and you probably thought, who's this punk down the line?
I remember when Spearfish, those are the Matt Martin days, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, and they won a state championship, and they were kind of carrying the West River banner for a while there, just for a few short years. But I do remember that night. I don't remember seeing you. Otherwise, you and I probably would have gotten some light fisticuffs up in the press box. But
I was just a young guy. Okay, I couldn't talk to the great Stu Whitney. Okay, now I've got you.
I had extra security on hand that night.
That's right. That's right. Spearfish, by the way, their last state championship right there, and they might be on the verge in AA. We'll get to that, Stu. But let me get to something that I know is near and dear to your heart. Stu Whitney, the Sioux Falls Detroit Lions homer, the Detroit Lions fan. What do you think of your Lions 4-1? Tough break for Hutchinson, big time. That's bad. But Lions 4-1. What do you say about this week against the Vikes?
Well, I mean, the Hutch injury actually puts a little bit of a pall over what would have been just an incredible day to walk into Jerry World and humiliate America's team. After what happened last year, Detroit should have won that game last year. They were, the controversial call on the two-point conversion. So clearly Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson were looking for some revenge on that. They were looking to rub it in. They tried to throw it to a offensive lineman for touchdowns, just kind of a wink, nudge, nudge. But I think that people saw, and you listen to what Tom Brady was saying on the telecast, that this is not a joke. What's going on in Detroit? This is a complete football team. Great offensive line. Defense has gotten a lot better. We upgraded the secondary. Jared Goff is playing well, but then you get Hutch with the broken lower leg and out for the season, and he was having I think NFL Defensive Player of the Year type season. Yeah, that's how good he was. So, rushing the passer is incredibly important in this league. So we'll see if they try to upgrade via trade or something. I think we're going to see what our regular guys can do for a few weeks here. But when the trade line gets closer, it could get interesting.
You think the Vikings are the real deal, or are they 5-0? Kind of okay.
I think they're a playoff team. I think Sam Darnold's going to run out of gas at some point. I don't think he's going to put up a full year playing at the level he has, and I think he's already started to tail off a little bit. We're going to find out how good of a coach Kevin O'Connell is, because if he can get Sam Darnold to go 17 games and then into the playoffs playing at a high level, then he's probably going to get some Coach of the Year consideration. I will be there on Sunday as the Lions invade U.S. Bank. So this game, probably the biggest game of the NFL season thus far. The NFC North is across the board. Everyone is, I think, at least 2 games over 500, which is kind of unheard of at this stage of the season. So it's definitely getting interesting.
Okay, I'm going to be in Las Vegas betting on the Vikings-Lions, so I'm going to get a read from you. And I just had Paul Allen on. He gave me his Vikings read, so I'm feeling good. I'm not going to tell you who I'm taking quite yet. Stu Whitney's on the Nate Brown Show, South Dakota Sports Talk Show, SD Newswatch. Let's go to this college thing. I want your perspective of this. You've seen it a lot back there. I've noticed SDSU and NDSU, yes, they're a cut above the rest in FCS football. We get it. NDSU's been at the top forever. SDSU has taken over that spot. They're playing this week. USD's coming along. They're blasting Missouri Valley teams so far this season. Can the Missouri Valley teams catch up to these three? Do you think USD is now ahead of other Missouri Valley programs?
I think you're starting to see a little bit of separation with that. I don't think it's good for the league. I think it's better to have some parity there, and every week being somewhat interesting. But you saw what SDSU did when they walked into the Unidome, which used to be a tough place to play down there in Cedar Falls, and just absolutely obliterated Northern Iowa. And then USD handling them pretty well. Northern Iowa was a team that you kind of had to always pay attention on your schedule. I'm not saying that's not going to be the case necessarily moving forward, but I think it's good to have competition throughout the conference. And when you start to have the haves and the have-nots, which you might see with a little more with the transfer portal, where players are drawn to a more successful program, you might see some of the more well-funded programs doing better. You already see that at the higher levels. And if it gets down to FCS, where you've got maybe 3 or 4 teams that can win the national championship every year, that's going to take away a little bit of the excitement. I think you're already seeing some of the excitement drained from the Summit League basketball tournament because of the transfer portal. And if you have a guy who reaches a high level, then the chance of him transferring to major D1 is almost 100% these days, it seems like. And that's bad for the Summit League because you want to have stars, you want to have star power. And I went out to the Summit League tournament at the Denny last year, and it didn't quite have that same buzz, I don't think, because of the quality of play and that aforementioned star power just wasn't there.
I want to know if you think South Dakota State can jump out of the FCS. It's an ongoing discussion. People have said, well, they could, but nobody's invited him yet. College football is going to change here in the landscape of like the top 70 big boys and then the rest of everybody, and then the FCS still is below the rest of everybody. Does South Dakota State make that jump? Can they without USD?
I wouldn't. If I were to make a jump, I would do it with NDSU, SDSU, USD, and UND. Have those rivalries are, I think, important to keep together. Just doing it for the sake of saying that you went up to FBS, I think, is BS, and I think it would be foolhardy at this point because of the fluctuation that you noted. No one knows what it's going to be like in even 2 years in major college football. I think what you touched upon with the Super League, which I've been saying for a while, they're going to go to a Super League. I thought it would be less than 70, but now, who knows? But it's going to be sort of an NFL-type schedule and structure and playoff structure, I believe, with those high-level teams. So why not wait for that to shake out and then see, okay, what's the next level down? What does that look like? And then try to settle in. But this whole thing about, okay, we're going to please start playing teams in New Mexico or Texas or California, for schools that are not exactly rolling in money right now, and USD in particular is highly subsidized by student fees and public money. I don't think making a kind of a rash move that's going to definitely increase your travel expenses is a great idea at this point.
Last one, Stu Whitney's on the Nate Brown Show, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Find him on Twitter at Stu Whitney and reporter for SD Newswatch. On the high school football front, Rapid City Central snaps a 29-game losing streak. They beat Sioux Falls, Washington. I contend with the history at Central and the struggle of building that program, they have a great coach in place. New staff, new energy, new numbers. I contend they should play another level down, and I feel like we need an adjustment in the whole Activities Association structure of football classes. Do you buy that or not? Rapid City Central dropping down.
Well, you and I have talked quite a bit about, and we both agree there needs to be a new structure. I've been banging that drum for quite a while. There's no need. I think it's ridiculous to have 7 classes in South Dakota. I would say 5. I still think that it should be mainly enrollment-based, which would put Rapid City clearly in the top division. I know you've argued that you have to look at what the actual results for the program are.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to stay with my male-only enrollment argument. And, you're seeing it. They just beat Washington. Washington, I will say that Bob Burns is got to be rolling over in his grave based on what's going on with that Washington football program. Brian Hermanson, who's still very much alive, so I can't say he's rolling over in his grave, but he's probably very puzzled what's going on because they have a great tradition. And I thought they had a lot of kids back this year, so I'm very surprised to see them struggling to the extent that they are. But
I can't talk you into
football needs to be fixed. But go ahead.
I can't talk you into just not only enrollment but success factor. It's got to be both.
Well, I mean, that's a kind of a tricky algorithm when you start talking about success factor and how you're going to do that. And, are you going to have teams losing on purpose so they can move down? I just think it's tougher than what it sounds like. It might sound good on paper or on the radio airwaves, but to actually put it into practice, I think is difficult.
You and I will discuss more. I have a feeling. Is that all right?
That sounds good. I think anytime we can talk about South Dakota High School Activities Association things and the way things need to change, that's good radio. So I'll be available for that.
Stu Whitney on tonight from SD Newswatch. You do great work. I appreciate you coming on, man. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it, Nate.
Thanks a lot. Stu Whitney on South Dakota Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show. Find him at SD Newswatch and on Twitter at Stu Whitney. We're back with an update on our question of the day. Will anybody in the Missouri Valley Football Conference catch up to SDSU, USD now, and NDSU? We'll look at the results next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Are you ready to rule the realm? With the new Game of Thrones scratch ticket from the South Dakota Lottery, you can. This epic game gives you the chance to win up to $50,000 instantly, or a trip to Napa Valley to play the Seven Kingdoms experience, where you could win your share of up to $7 million in cash prizes. So treat yourself like royalty and go to your local South Dakota Lottery retailer to pick up your Game of Thrones scratch ticket today and let your reign begin. Must be 18 years or older to play. Please play responsibly.
At Fleet Farm, we know every opening day doesn't begin and end with us. But if it did, we've got you covered. Everyday hunting gear from Winchester, Remington, and Bear. Everyday fishing gear from Daiwa, St. Croix, and Rapala. Everyday yard cleanup from Scott's, Fiskars, and AgriFab. Whatever makes your day, we're right there with you. At Fleet Farm, we've got everything you need for everyday life.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Partly cloudy tonight with lows around 36. East winds around 5 miles per hour. Highs level off around 62 tomorrow. Mainly clear tomorrow night. Lows dip down to about 49. Daytime highs approaching 86. Wednesday, under clear skies. 78 Thursday, slight chance for showers. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently, it's 69 degrees.
Fall savings are reaching their peak at Spearfish GMC. Discounts up to $84.50 on remaining 2024 Sierra 1500 models. And well-qualified buyers get 3.9% APR for 48 months on HD Sierras, plus $1,000 cash back on select models. Check out exceptional lease offers on the all-new Hummer EV2X. See Spearfish GMC online at spearfishmotors.com.
Building projects can be complex. The risks are great and time is money. Consolidated Construction of Rapid City simplifies the process by being your advocate, guiding you through funding, design, and construction. They manage the players and the schedule and marry the design to your budget so you get the most for your investment. They promise an energizing experience before, during, and after construction. It's not enough that you get a quality building. They pledge you'll experience quality every step of the way. Consolidated Construction. OneCallToBuild.com.
The doctors and staff at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center have provided expert bone, joint, and muscle care to patients in the Black Hills area since 1976. Whether you're an elite athlete, a weekend warrior, or just want to continue your active lifestyle, the orthopedic experts at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center will help you stay in the game. Don't let an injury keep you from doing the things you love. Trust the team at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, specializing in what moves you. Learn more at bhosc.com.
Great news. I just got the State Farm personal price plan on our home and auto insurance.
You told our agent about my thing for romance novels?
No, you don't have to get that personal. Our agent just helped me choose affordable options to create a personalized price just for us.
Oh, sweet. Then you won't believe the love triangle Jen is in now.
Contact me, State Farm agent Scott Carlson, to create your personal price plan today.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
Welcome back in South Dakota Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show live. Glad you're here. Packed up in the first hour. Voice of the Vikings joined us, Paul Allen. If you miss any parts of the show, a reminder, you can download the Nate Brown Show podcast. Just search The Nate Brown Show wherever you get your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, Amazon. We're out there on all the platforms. So if you miss Paul Allen previewing Vikings-Lions, a little bit of Stu Whitney as we get going with the longtime sports writer out of Sioux Falls this Monday. Just search The Nate Brown Show wherever you get your podcasts, and you're good to go. Hey, let's go to the question of the day before we get into the second hour of the program. With SDSU, NDSU, and USD winning the Missouri Valley games so far in blowouts, will the rest of the conference ever compete again? Will other teams step up? 59% of you say no, the parity in the conference is gone. 41% says yes, it's all cyclical. We come back with hour number 2, and a high school football team in Nebraska forfeits. We'll be to that next.
Look at all the pictures of the resort you'd stay in every year. All you need to do is pay reasonable maintenance fees once a year. With any contract that you're signing, read and understand everything. What happens if you cancel? Can you get out of this contract? If you feel pushed into signing the contract, you need to stop and take a step back. If you have questions, contact the South Dakota Office of Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986.
At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, we are committed to improving the lives of our members and bettering our communities. As your community credit union, we're here to get to know you and your unique needs. From extended service hours to the newest technology, we have you covered. Stop by any location to get started or text or call 605-718-1818. BHFCU is member-owned, not-for-profit, and federally insured by the NCUA.
Score huge savings during Pump's Fall Tire Blitz. Through October 31st, get $80 off instantly on select Michelin tires. Up to $180 in rebates on Firestone. Up to $190 in rebates on Bridgestone. Up to $200 in rebates on Hankook. Or up to $265 in rebates on Goodyear. Make your winning drive to Pump's and score up to $265 in savings. Hurry, the Fall Tire Blitz ends October 31st. See store for details or visit us at pompstire.com. Pumps, we know tires and service. You should know Pumps.
Football is on, and your place for all the action is at the BetMGM Sportsbook in Tin Lizzie Gaming Resort.
And he's got a touchdown!
Don't miss a second of your favorite matchups with wall-to-wall television arrays and personalized audio technology.
Touchdown, Denver!
Now offering live betting so you can keep your luck rolling while the game is still going. Grab a lounge chair or pull up to a table and order off a full menu of food and drinks from Patio Neal's. BetMGM at Tin Lizzie is the #1 sportsbook in Deadwood, where it's always game on.
October is Renewal by Anderson's United Against Cancer campaign, and all of us at Renewal urge you to get your home tested for radon now. When Renewal's owner offered to pay for radon testing and mitigation if radon was found in our homes, several Renewal by Anderson team members found dangerously high levels of radon in their homes. This colorless, odorless gas is a killer. After smoking, radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer. The EPA estimates that radon causes 21,000 lung cancer deaths each year. Radon may also be linked to breast and other cancers, Parkinson's, dementia. Testing for radon is simple. Home tests cost under $20. Professional testing may be a couple of $100, and if you have radon, it's easy to get rid of with a relatively inexpensive system that blows that radon out of a vent. From all of us at your local Renewal by Anderson, please invest in your family's safety today. Get a radon test today. There could be an invisible killer in your home right now.
We're all going somewhere. Going higher, faster, farther. Going in new directions, to new places. At Monument Health, we keep going so you can keep going. We're dedicated to advanced orthopedic care with the latest innovations, technology, expertise, and treatment. So keep exploring, keep making memories, keep going with Monument Health as your partner. Learn more at monument.health/orthopedics.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
One more time.
This is the Nate Brown Show. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
One more time.
Welcome in, second hour of the program. It is South Dakota Sports Talk Show, the Nate Brown Show. Welcome you on 98.1 Fox Sports, AM 1230 KWSN in Sioux Falls, and here on Fox Sports Rapid City. Welcome in. We're ready to go. Second hour lined up and out of the gate. I'll tell you what, good hour. We've got great lineup for you. Mike McFeely coming up, covers the FCS and college football, NDSU out of Fargo with Inforum.com. Want to get the NDSU perspective. McFeely certainly is on tap this hour. Into the high school football side, let's look at the weekend that was and then preview some big matchups coming up. A huge one in AAA, undefeated matchup. Harrisburg, Brandon Valley on tap this weekend. Jason Ander is on the way. His show Inside the 605. High school football analyst Jason Andera coming up. And, of course, questions of the day. If you haven't tuned in yet, I welcome you into the second hour of the Nate Brown Show. The listener competition we got going in our first day across South Dakota. This show airing across South Dakota from Rapid City to Sioux Falls on Fox Sports. And our listener competition is this. I just want to find out where you're listening to the program from. First day, out of the gate, I want to know how many in Sioux Falls area, the metro area, how many in the Black Hills. So you text the text line, and this is important for you. Every day we do this show, you can interact with us on the text line. Give your sports takes. Give your hot takes. Answer the question of the day. All the good stuff. 605-720-1067. That's the Barron's Wilson listener text line. That is for you, okay? 605-720-1067. That's the new number for everybody listening on the text line. Text us where you're listening from, why you want to do it. I'm going to give away a $100 gift card to a couple of places we love. Shenanigans out in Sioux Falls, great place to go. I'll set one listener up who texts in 605-720-1067, where they're listening from. $100 to Shenanigans. I'll give that to you at the end of this week. And then we'll do one in Rapid City. You got to text, though, and tell me where you're from, and I'll pick out the number, and I'll let you know. How about $100 to the Firehouse downtown Rapid City, the Firehouse Skybox, our number one headquarters for big games. So we'll do that. $100 each. We're in trouble. It's over. So we're gonna not play the second half. Now the story is this. What about the South Dakota scenario here? Do you remember years ago? You may forget this. Spearfish was really, really struggling. They were in this. Their program was down. Their numbers were down. They gave up 100 points to Pierre. So this is a Governor's program winning 8 titles in a row. We know that, right? So this is when the Govs were rolling. They put up 100 on Spearfish. This was, I would say, 5 years ago, probably? Somewhere in there. Okay? So that's the scenario that Lincoln High in Nebraska was trying to avoid. Essentially, their coach, who was talking to one of the sports radio guys, said, I didn't want to have our participation, which is already down anyway, get even worse when we get blasted by Millard South, maybe give up 100. He goes, we just couldn't have that. And so they forfeited the second half. My question of the day as we get into the second hour of the Nate Brown Show is, are you okay with that decision? Because here in South Dakota, there is no mercy rule in the high classes either. So this is the highest class in Nebraska high school football, Class A down there. That's the Lincoln, the Omaha schools, okay? So this is Class A. There's no mercy rule outside of the continuous clock. They would have ran the clock in the second half, and maybe JV players would have gotten in for Millard South, you would think, and the rest is history. But they forfeited the rest of the game. Here in South Dakota, we decided, hey, these AAA teams, these AA teams, they may travel a long way from Sioux Falls out to Rapid City. Are we going to end the game after 50 points? So we decided no mercy rule in the highest classes here. No mercy rule, because you don't want to make the trip from Rapid City to Sioux Falls and end up playing a half. You get blasted and it's over, okay? So you don't want to do that. So we said no mercy rule. You just play out the game. We'll run the clock. That's what Nebraska does too. Are you okay with bagging the second half? Text us on the text line, 605-720-1067. I want to get your read on it, just the way you're going to go on this. 605-720-1067. Let's see. Nebraska high school football team decided to forfeit to the rest of the game Friday. That was Lincoln High out of Lincoln against Millard South. They were down 63-0 at half. My question of the day on Twitter, what do you think of this decision? You're fine with it? Should have a mercy rule anyway? Or just try and play it out? I want to know which way people are going to go on this. Do you have to tough it out? You got to grind it out? Because the deal is, people would say, well, what about injuries? Well, what about the whole thing? I was talking to my wife about this story yesterday, and she said, just forget it. She said, just forget it. I mean, the game's over. It's over. She said, it's not a big deal. But people are saying, well, should they have played it out? Listener reaction here on X. Follow us at Nate Brown Show if you want to interact with the show on Twitter, X, at Nate Brown Show. Listener reaction, just risking injury to the players at that point. Boxing can throw in the towel. Why not other sports? Why not other sports? So here's how I would normally answer this. When it's 63-0, if some of your players are down, it's over. You talk to the other team. I guess they're okay with it. I usually let that go, I guess. My worry is what? If it sets a slippery slope precedent. Is there a slippery slope? What if we're down 50-0 at half? What if we're, well, we know we're not going to win this game, so let's just bag it. I would think that wouldn't happen across South Dakota, across Nebraska in this case. I would think that wouldn't happen, but I don't love the precedent of it's 63-0, because most of the time you would hope the coach on the Millard South side puts in the JV. The Lincoln High team out in Nebraska keeps their varsity in it, and they just play it out with the continuous clock. I most of the time I think that would happen. I was surprised to see the coach talk to the AD, they talked to the other team, we're just going to bag it. And some people said, well, it wasn't a total player safety issue. It wasn't solely about player safety. It was about, are we going to give up 100? We have participation numbers that are down anyway. How's this going to look? This isn't great. High school football, I'm told in Nebraska, the Omaha schools, man, power programs. Like Class A down there, we have our power programs here. Sioux Falls is dominated. Same story in Nebraska is what I'm told is Omaha's just rocking right now. Just rocking. So do you just bag second halves of games? Maybe you need a mercy rule put in. Maybe it is over at 50. Nebraska used to have it over at 45-point margin. Second half, it's over. Maybe you just put a mercy rule back in, and then you don't put the coaches in this position. That's what I want to know. What do you say? Nebraska team out of Lincoln quits the second half. Are you fine with it, or they should have tried to play it out? Heavy votes on this. 86% say you're fine with it. You should have a mercy rule at 50. So 86% of the audience on Twitter fine with it, should have a mercy rule at 50. 14% say you should try to play it out. Listener text 605-720-1067, the listener text line. Game should end with a 50-plus score anyway, regardless of class. Okay? Let's see. Listener text. It's Lincoln. Who cares? That's from an Omaha sports fan. All right. I got you on that one. 86% fine with the forfeiting the second half, but I think you're fine with the mercy rule. So if you brought this into South Dakota, what would it be? I don't think we'd want teams to quit, forfeit games. Let's just put this into perspective. Rapid City Central going out to Sioux Falls. There is no mercy rule to end the game. Would you guys be fine if Rapid City Central sometimes said, yeah, we're not gonna play the second half? I don't know if people would be that fine with that. Continuous clock, 35 points, but maybe the answer is, like our listener text, mercy rule across the board. Why do we have a mercy rule in 11A and B and 9-man, but we let the AA and AAA teams here in this state just play it out? I'm told because of the travel. The long travel, you make the trip all the way from West River to East River, you want to play the whole game. But I don't know if too many people are learning much at that point anyway. All right, a timeout of the Nate Brown Show, South Dakota Sports Talk Show. A reminder, listener competition between East River and West River, our debut of the program. Text us where you're listening from tonight. 605-720-1067. That's your listener text line from here on out. You can text us, comes right in here. Where are you listening from? The Sioux Falls area or the Black Hills? 605-720-1067. I'll pick a winner out. $100 gift card to Shenanigans for a Sioux Falls listener. $100 gift card to the Firehouse downtown for a Rapid City listener. We'll pull them out at the end of this week. Mike McFeely talking NDSU, SDSU. It's the Dakota Marker this week. Mike McFeely covers the Bison. He's live from Fargo next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Are you ready to rule the realm? With the new Game of Thrones scratch ticket from the South Dakota Lottery, you can. This epic game gives you the chance to win up to $50,000 instantly, or a trip to Napa Valley to play the Seven Kingdoms experience, where you could win your share of up to $7 million in cash prizes. So treat yourself like royalty and go to your local South Dakota Lottery retailer to pick up your Game of Thrones scratch ticket today and let your reign begin. Must be 18 years or older to play. Please play responsibly.
At Fleet Farm, we know every opening day doesn't begin and end with us. But if it did, we've got you covered. Everyday hunting gear from Winchester, Remington, and Bear. Everyday fishing gear from Daiwa, St. Croix, and Rapala. Everyday yard cleanup from Scott's, Fiskars, and AgriFab. Whatever makes your day, we're right there with you. At Fleet Farm, we've got everything you need for everyday life.
We all know life's busy, and if you get sick, you can get behind pretty quick. That's where Black Hills Urgent Care comes in. No appointments needed, no long waits, just fast, affordable care to get you feeling better quicker. Black Hills Urgent Care has 2 locations in Rapid City on Haynes Avenue and Mountain View Road. You can simply check in online at bhucare.com. That's with the letter U, bhucare.com. When you need care, see the team at Black Hills Urgent Care, the faster way to get better.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Do you find yourself in a difficult legal situation? Whether it's a DUI, criminal charges, or an injury case, you need the right lawyer on your side. That's where Wrench Law comes in. With over 30 years of experience, Tim Wrench is a trial lawyer who knows the ins and outs of the legal system. Tim specializes in helping people in a jury trial get the best possible outcome for the case. Don't let legal troubles get in the way of your life. Contact Wrench Law today and get the help you need to move forward. Wrench Law, who you need when you're caught in a bind. Call 605-341-1111.
This Halloween weekend, the competition gets spooky. Join the Box Elder Event Center for the second annual Pickle Boo Pickleball Tournament, October 26th and 27th. Show off your team's best costumes and compete for a $500 prize. Play in men's and women's doubles on Saturday, mixed doubles on Sunday, or both. Special room rates at Courtyard by Marriott. Make it a Halloween weekend to remember. Register now at thebox.live. Are you ready to boo and dink?
This isn't just the sound of a legendary Brunswick pool table. It's the sound of families about to make memories together. And while this may sound like the hum of a spa, listen closely, and you'll hear backyard fun for years to come. So while Splash City's guarantee of quality sure sounds good, we know quality time sounds even better.
Who wants another burger?
Splash City, 1024 West Omaha, across from Connects in Rapid City.
This is The Nate Brown Show, also streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe to The Nate Brown Show on YouTube.
Hi, welcome back in. Second hour of the program. It is The Drive, brought to you by Summit Automotive Group. Take a look at pre-owned selection right now, summitautogrp.com. South Dakota Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show with Mike McFeely, columnist, inforum.com. Covers the FCS, North Dakota State. He's getting ready for the sellout, the Dakota Marker, Saturday night. Sellout, man. This is the game, number one against number two. Mike, good to have you back on. How are you?
Congratulations, buddy.
I appreciate that.
Expanding your empire.
You would call that.
I assume that Fargo is next. If Sioux Falls is now on the docket, I assume that Fargo is next. So
wow,
I can't wait for that.
I'd have to branch out with that, let me tell you. Okay, let's get into a couple of things. I'm going to get to the game here in a little bit, SDSU, NDSU. I'll get to that. I have a question of the day for the audience. I'm looking at this Missouri Valley. I'm seeing SDSU, NDSU dominate. I get that. USD has blasted Southern Illinois and Northern Iowa. Is the Missouri Valley, the rest of the conference, that far off than these three?
Yes. Next question.
Will it stay that way? That's the next question. Will it stay that way?
I mean, I've been around a long time, and when North Dakota State got into the Missouri Valley Football Conference back, was it 2008? I think was their first year in the conference. Northern Iowa was a powerhouse. Southern Illinois was starting to trend a little bit downward because the glory days of Jerry Kill were gone, but Southern Illinois was still pretty darn good. Illinois State was always really solid. Western Illinois used to be a playoff-worthy team. Indiana State, at one point, I think it was 2011, beat North Dakota State in the Fargo Dome and made the playoffs. There used to be, other than a couple of really bad teams at the bottom, Missouri State mostly, and then frankly, when USD came into the league, they were winless, I think, for a couple of years in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. But, man, from top to bottom, you didn't know every week what you're going to get. A trip to Youngstown State used to just be a terror, even when the Bison were at their peak, winning national championship after national championship. And you just can't say that anymore. North Dakota State has maintained their spot near the top of the conference, although they've clearly fallen behind South Dakota State the last couple of years. But South Dakota State is just killing people. North Dakota State just killed UND a couple of weeks ago. They hammered Illinois State down in Normal. USD is crushing people. I think outside of those three teams, like you said, it's just not very good. And it's just not very fun anymore. And I'm going to go with that. That I'm for North Dakota State to get out, but I won't go there. I will not go there.
Not yet. Not yet. Hang on.
But it's just not the same. And I think part of it is the portal. I think part of it is just finances that some of these schools just can't afford to keep up. Northern Iowa's football budget is almost embarrassing for the school with that history of success in FCS football. And so I think that separation, which is what I've been saying for many years, the separation between North Dakota State and South Dakota State is just going to continue to get bigger and bigger because they spend money on football and their facilities are unbelievable and they care about football. The communities care about football. I don't think anybody else really does around the valley anymore.
Okay, that's what I was wondering because I got listeners reacting saying, hang on a second. UND, they'll rotate in to be good like USD in a year or two. There's other teams that'll take...
Who says?
Yeah.
Based on what? They've been in Division I for 15 years. They've had one season when they've won 8 games. South Dakota State, remember, 2 years ago was 3-8, and people thought Bob Nielsen was going to get fired. I mean, so it's only been a year. So let's see if USD can maintain what they have.
Right, that's what they're saying. They're saying USD's going to...
Before we get UND in the top of the conference, how about if they actually do something and win a playoff game first?
Okay, that's what they're saying, Mike, is like, hey, SDSU and NDSU are the top dogs, but everyone else, they'll be competitive in here. Like, it's a fight for everyone else. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it is. I think that USD and UND have advantages that the other schools don't have, like the Southern Illinois and Indiana State's going to be terrible forever, and I would not be surprised if they drop football in the next 10 years. Murray State's always going to be terrible. It's just a small school in the middle of Kentucky. It's a basketball school.
Yep.
They were led into the Valley on horrible terms that should have never happened. They should have never been voted in, but all the schools are just going along to get along. Missouri State's leaving, and I've always thought that they've had potential to be good because they're in a nice community that's a beautiful campus, decent facilities. But Southern Illinois is always going to struggle. Northern Iowa now, it appears because of finances, is always going to struggle. I just don't. Youngstown is Youngstown. We thought maybe they were getting a little bit better, but God, they're terrible now too, and I don't know where they get the money from either. And so I just don't see this changing anytime in the future. I think Matt Zimmer from Sioux Falls Live a week or so ago had a great column just saying what I've been saying for years, that FCS is drying up and there's going to be a separation in the Valley because of the power of NDSU and FDSU. Okay,
Mike McFeely's on from Inforum.com here on the Nate Brown Show, South Dakota Sports Talk Show columnist. Find him on Twitter at McFeely_Inforum. So the plan, I think, Mike, here's what I would do. Hang tight. I know the FCS is, we're going to lose Missouri State even, but hang tight. College big boys will get it figured out, and then we need to be in that real level of no more FCS, but the next level underneath all the big dogs when this college football thing gets lined out. Is that fair?
That's what some would like to see happen, including the South Dakota schools. I don't know that's a guarantee. I mean, do we know that's going to happen for sure? Is that...
It looks like it.
Is that in writing somewhere? Yeah, but I've been hearing that for 3 years, and it hasn't happened yet. I'm still of the mind that you have to get there first.
Okay.
And then worry about everything else later. I just don't. I think this idea of the SDSUs and the USDs and the UNDs hanging around, waiting for things to happen, is being passive. And I think in today's college football world, you have to be aggressive. You can't be waiting around, waiting for things to happen, or you get left behind, like has already happened.
Okay, so you would be fighting to get into the Mountain West, fighting to get into Conference USA.
Yes, yep, without question, without question. And I have reason to believe that the powers that be at North Dakota State feel the same way. That they're not sitting idly by, but instead are being active in trying to find a way to get to the next level, to be proactive instead of wait for things to happen and see how they break down.
Okay, let's go to the Dakota Marker. ESPN2, national TV, Saturday night, number 1 against number 2. Is North Dakota State as close to SDSU this year than we've seen in the past 2 years?
Well, I mean, remember that in 2022, in the regular season, when NDSU was fully healthy and South Dakota State hadn't quite found their footing yet, that NDSU was a hair's breadth away from going up 28-7 at halftime on South Dakota State and putting that game away. After that, after the injury to Hunter Lipke and a couple of other players, there was a clear separation. And by the time of the national championship game in Frisco, the Jacks were obviously by far the better team, and it showed on the scoreboard. Last year, no question, Jacks significantly better than North Dakota State. To answer your question, I think so, yes. And it's not so much that North Dakota State is way better than they have been. I think it's that South Dakota State, because of what they lost, and you can't lose Mason McCormick, you can't lose Isaiah Davis, you can't lose what they lost and think that you're going to be exactly the same. I think the Jacks have taken a minor step backward, and so that has allowed North Dakota State to get a little bit closer. And then the game is in the Fargo Dome as well, and that's always worth at least a couple of points, or at least it should be. And so I think that this game Saturday, because of those factors, should be a pretty good ball game. I don't think it's going to be 39-13 or whatever it was a year ago down in Brookings. I think the Bison should be able to hang with them, even though they've had a couple of apparent injuries now again, too. They get beat up last week at Southern Illinois, but that's part of football. You got to deal with it. But, yeah, I think that just because of what the Jacks have lost, that they've come back to the pack a little bit, and I think that the Bison are going to be able to give them a game on Saturday.
Here's something as I watch FCS football, Mike. Cam Miller, NDSU quarterback, I've been a big fan of his. I feel like he's underappreciated, maybe not up there, but across the conference a little. I mean, I feel like he's a gamer. You tell me.
Oh, absolutely. I'm on board with that as well. I've said for a couple of years that Cam Miller deserves way more accolades than he's getting. And I think a lot of it, Nate, is based on the game against Incarnate Word a couple of years ago in the playoffs when I think he went 1 for 12 in that game. And I think that was a nationally televised semifinal game. And you combine that with just the natural hatred of North Dakota State in the FCS world, and I don't think Cam Miller gets the credit he deserves. Mark Gronowski deserves everything he's gotten. He deserved the Walter Payton last year. He's been a championship-winning quarterback the last couple of years. He deserves it all. I just think Cam Miller has been sold short around FCS. And frankly, prior to this year, I think even in Fargo, I think people haven't appreciated what he's done. But Cam Miller is going to get a chance to play in the NFL. There's a chance he could be drafted late, final round or something. But he's going to get a chance, and if the award was voted on today, I believe that he would win the Walter Payton Award as the best offensive player in FCS. He's been that good for NDSU, even though against Southern Illinois, he sprained his ankle the week before against UND, wasn't quite as sharp against SIU, but he has been lights out all year for the Bison.
What's it going to be like at the Fargo Dome Saturday night?
It should be crazy. Bison fans have been complaining for 5 years that they're bored, that there's never any exciting games that outside of South Dakota State, and this is it. I mean, this is the game. This is the game that Bison fans should have been waiting for the last couple of years for all the reasons we've talked about, is that it's going to be 1 versus 2. It's going to be on national television on ESPN2. It's going to be Cam Miller against Mark Gronowski. It's going to be for very important seeding purposes. I mean, the winner of this game has an inside track to a top 2 seed, which means they wouldn't have to travel for the playoffs. And gosh, for the Bison, win the game. I mean, my God, you've lost 5 in a row to your arch rival. Win the game. Get the Dakota Marker Trophy back in Fargo. The Dakota Marker's forgotten what Fargo looks like. It's not here ever. It's always down in the 605.
A little motivation from Mike McFeely.
I mean, Bison fans, they've whined for so long about how bored they are. If you can't get excited for this game, you're never going to get excited. I mean, it's all there. It's college football. I've been complaining for years trying to get NDSU out of FCS, but I'm excited about this game because it matters. It means something, and it should be very competitive.
Big one. South Dakota State favored on the road. I saw 2.5 by 2.5.
Yeah, That's about right. I thought on Saturday on my podcast, I think I said I thought it was going to be about 3.5, but 2.5 is about right. And it should be. Jacks are the better team on paper. They're the two-time defending champions. They're playing better. They did last week, better than North Dakota State did. They seem to be getting things going, so they should be favored. And I don't know, by the way, when the last time North Dakota State was not favored at home. I can't recall a game when they were not favored at home. So this is something new for NDSU.
We're going to have a fun one this Saturday. Tomorrow on this program, Justin Sell, South Dakota State Athletic Director, will join us. We'll talk SDSU more. NDSU coverage, follow him at McFeely_Inforum, and his work is Inforum.com. Columnist Mike McFeely. Good to have you, man. Thanks a lot.
Hello, Sioux Falls. We'll talk again.
All right. Appreciate that. Mike McFeely on tonight. Inforum.com columnist, again, live from Fargo. Dakota Marker Saturday night. And we'll have Justin Sell tomorrow. So we'll do a countdown here every night on the program this week. We're going to have Justin Sell. We're going to have Mark Gronowski, South Dakota State quarterback. So we'll get you plugged in and ready for the biggest game in the country, FCS Showdown, number 1 against number 2, all week on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. We go high school football next. A huge matchup this weekend. Let's look at some of the big wins this past weekend as well. High school football roundup with Jason Andera. His show's Inside the 605. Andera's next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
October is Renewal by Anderson's United Against Cancer campaign, and when Renewal offered to pay for employees' radon testing and mitigation, several Renewal team members found radon in their homes. Deb was one of them, and she always wondered how she got breast cancer. Radon causes cancer. It's linked to Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. Radon is a killer.
People don't know about radon. They don't know what a killer it is, and they don't know how cheap it is to have it tested.
From all of us at Renewal by Anderson, please get a radon test now. It could save your life.
We are number 1. So you can always be their number 1. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number 1 hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
During Pump's Fall Tire Blitz. Through October 31st, get $80 off instantly on select Michelin tires. Up to $180 in rebates on Firestone. Up to $190 in rebates on Bridgestone. Up to $200 in rebates on Hankook. Or up to $265 in rebates on Goodyear. Make your winning drive to Pump's and score up to $265 in savings. Hurry, the Fall Tire Blitz ends October 31st. See store for details or visit us at PumpsTire.com. Pumps, we know tires and service. You should know Pumps.
If you're in the market for a vehicle right now, you probably have noticed it's sometimes hard to find the right one. That's where Summit Automotive Group steps in. Stacy and Matt and their staff working hard to get a great selection of pre-owned vehicles at affordable prices. At Summit Automotive, they have a different outlook on selling you a vehicle. You'll experience stress-free shopping, friendly, honest service with no high-pressure sales gimmicks. Before you buy, drop by East Highway 44, SummitAutoGRP.com.
Hi, this is Dr. Dan Jensen at Physio. We want to be your trusted partner for physical therapy, athlete development, and sports rehab. As the official strength and conditioning partners for Stevens, Central, Douglas, and the Rapid City Rush, our team at Physio is building the best athletes in the Black Hills. If you have an athlete in the family, we offer long-term athlete development at affordable prices for middle and high school students. We also have the only board-certified sports PT in Rapid City. At our brand new facility, Physio is ready to help you perform at your best. One-on-one physical therapy, athlete development, and sports rehab, all at one place. Get started at bhphysio.com.
Looking for a great place for a pregame meal that really satisfies? Or maybe you want a place to take your all-star after the game. Or you're looking for a place to enjoy a delicious meal while watching your favorite team on the big screen TV. Valley Sports Bar and Grill has all the bases covered for all those things and more. Top-notch, friendly, and attentive service. Wall-to-wall big screen TVs with all the big games. And the absolute best wings in Rapid City. Valley Sports Bar. Make it your place. 1865 Valley Drive, Rapid City.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show, also streaming right now on X. Follow us and watch the show live at Nate Brown Show.
Welcome back in South Dakota Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show live, Fox Sports 98.1 AM 1230 KWSN. And here, Fox Sports Rapid City, the Nate Brown Show, driven by Spearfish Motors, your home for the new 2024 GM season Cadillacs right now. Take a look, spearfishmotors.com. All right, high school football. Let's go with Jason Andera. You can watch his show on YouTube. It's called Inside the 605. Jason Andera, high school football breakdown. Find him on X, Twitter, at Jandy605. Huge matchup in 11 AAA coming up this weekend. Let's go back to this past weekend. Jandy, good to have you on. How are you?
Doing well. It's a little chill in the air. I was just out at Brandon Valley's practice and stood there for about a half an hour and realized, yeah, it is October football, Nate. We are getting down to it.
The last couple of weeks for the big schools, I mean, I can't believe that myself. We got a huge showdown. Brandon Valley, you were just out there. Brandon Valley, Harrisburg coming up. I'm going to get to that. First, let's go back to this past weekend. So here's what people are looking at. All right, how's this 11 AA thing going to shake out? You came on the show last week and said you're a believer in Yankton. What do you say now with where Yankton's at?
Well, they look pretty good, didn't they? They've had 4 weeks in a row where their defense has pretty much been as close to perfect as it can be in 11 AA, and they keep getting stronger. Their quarterback play has really gotten better throughout the year, and they're balanced. They can run the ball. They've got speed in the outside. They have the fewest weaknesses of anybody in 11 AA right now, but that's not to say that this thing is over. By far. I do think they're the strongest team, but I'm still watching Spearfish get better. I love the way that their offensive line is playing, and I still love the way Watertown plays when they don't make mistakes. They played a great game against T where they still made a few mistakes, but were able to have a dominant showing there. So we're not forgetting about anybody. We're just saying that Yankton looks like the most complete team right now in 11 AA. But it is a week-to-week business in 11 AA, isn't it? We get a different picture developed every single week that we take this to the printers. And right now, I'm going to stay with Yankton, but that could change.
Yankton's your number one ranked team. They beat Brookings 24-7. Do you have Spearfish at number 2? Are you going to put the Spartans that high?
I do. And what they did against Watertown really showed me something. Not only going across the state, which is a difficult thing to do, but go toe-to-toe with them in the trenches. That's what showed me they do belong as the number 2 team. There's no easy way to do it when you make a few freak plays or whatever. No, this is a real team getting it done in the trenches with speed on the outside. I really like the Spearfish team. I've got them number 2, Watertown right there, and then Brookings with that loss. It did knock them down, but, knocked them down to 4, but they don't feel like a number 4 team. They could still create some problems in this top 4 going down the stretch.
Jason Andera talking high school football. His show's on YouTube. Search for it. You can find it Inside the 605. It's every week there on YouTube. Let's go to the AAA scenario. I'm going to talk to Coach Christensen this week, Brandon Valley. Brandon Valley 7-0, Harrisburg 7-0. Who's the best team? We're going to find out, but who do you give the edge to?
We are going to find out. Right now, there's no doubt in my mind that the Brandon Valley defense has the advantage here. They're a very good defense. They're gap sound. They've got really strong pass rush, which will give Sam Knuth some trouble. Offensively, I think Harrisburg's got the best offense in the state right now, just because they're balanced with Josiah Hines running the ball, a great offensive line, Braden Feldy, one of the top 2 receivers, and Sam Knuth, the senior quarterback, probably the most dependable quarterback in 11 AAA. So, does defense win championships? We will find out. They have the stronger defense. Harrisburg with the stronger offense. It should be a dynamite game. It really should. I thought the Lincoln-Brandon game a couple weeks ago was going to be a dynamite game. Turned out not to be because that Brandon Valley defense was so good. I think Harrisburg has the tools to withstand that a little bit better with the veteran quarterback than Lincoln did a couple weeks ago. But, man, this is going to be one that has to be played out on the field, and it might not be the final say either.
Harrisburg just beat Jefferson 21-14. That was a pretty good look. Jefferson taking on Rapid City Central coming up out west. Let's go to 11A. We haven't talked about it much, Jason, 11A, because Sioux Falls Christian has really handled teams. Lennox is in there, but is Sioux Falls Christian kind of untouchable right now?
They certainly seem to be getting better, don't they? They are a team that do look head and shoulders above the class right now. But remember, Lennox is the team that outplayed them at least for a half of a game when they played head-to-head. The second half, the Sioux Falls Christian defense came to play. But Lennox is right there with them. Now, I've said this all season long. Lennox is the kind of team that has really high highs, but are susceptible to some lows as well. And playing Madison, just like they did last year when they played Madison, they did not play their best, and they almost lost that game. It was a great performance by their quarterback, Boston Katzer, that got them the victory in that game with a bevy of receivers. They're the kind of team that can beat Sioux Falls Christian just maybe 1 out of 5 times. So I don't think this is a foregone conclusion with Sioux Falls Christian. I just think that they are the strongest, most well-rounded team in 11A.
Is Rapid City Christian on your radar in 11A? They had a really tough schedule. Now it's evened out. They'll be a playoff team for, and in the mix there. Are they on the radar in a top 5 scenario?
I really think they are. And in mid-season, I did my second-half risers teams, and I really thought Rapid City Christian belonged on that list because they learned so much from the early season, what it takes to survive playing the Elite 11A teams. And they were able, looking back, they were able to have some good moments against Sioux Falls Christian. They had some great moments against Canton and weren't able to get it done. They played Del Rapids okay at the beginning, but they learned so much from those 3 games. And now, as they get stronger, they know that they are going to need depth and that they are going to need to play in the trenches with those teams. But skill position-wise, they've got every player that they need to make big plays in the playoffs in 11A. So, yes, definitely on my radar in 11A.
Rapid City Christian started out tough schedule, and they're coming on now. Great skill players, as you say. Jason Adair is on tonight inside the 605, his show on YouTube. I want to get your read on something that I caught over the weekend. So you go to Nebraska, Lincoln High School, not Sioux Falls Lincoln, Nebraska High School. They played Millard South out of Omaha. It's a big mismatch. This is the biggest class of football there. 63-0 at half. And Lincoln out of Nebraska says, we're not going to play the second half. We have some players down. We're just going to not play it. What do you say about it? We don't have a mercy rule in the big class here, meaning game's over at 50, like the smaller classes. Nebraska doesn't either. What do you say about a team saying, we're going to bag the second half?
Yeah, I mean, looking at it at the surface, that's a tough look, right? Saying we're just not going to play in the second half. I don't know all the circumstances, but when you're getting beat up like that, it's not a learning opportunity anymore. You're not going to learn anything by going out and playing. I mean, I personally would still go out and just give it what I got because, I think that's what most people would do, but it's hard for me to go out and say, it's time to be done. So I wouldn't do it. I would go out there and I'd finish the game just because it shows the kids that, you finish what you start. But I don't know all the circumstances, and that is rough when you do have injuries like that. yeah, it's a tough situation for sure. One that I don't know if there's a good answer for it.
Where do you land on the mercy rule in South Dakota? We could have that scenario with, I don't know, Rapid City Stevens playing whoever. And you could have a scenario, we don't end games in the big school class either because all of the travel, and you go all that way and you try and play out the game. Do you think a mercy rule, 50 points, the game's over in the second half, or no?
No, I like the running clock. When they instituted that made a lot of sense to me. And when we do have big blowouts, you're still able to put your second string in or whatever it is and finish the game out, and it goes by quicker, but you still have opportunities for the kids to play. And I think that's important too, not just to end the game like that when you have so many players on a team in a big school. So I like the way they're doing it right now, personally.
Jason Andera in tonight, inside the 605. We'll be watching it. You can find him on YouTube at night, man. Search for the show. He's got the archive shows up there as well. Inside the 605, high school football show with Jason Andera and David Brown. Jason, good to have you, man. I look forward to having you on in Sioux Falls as always. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Nate.
Appreciate it. Jason Andera on tonight, South Dakota Sports Talk Show, the Nate Brown Show with Andera. Great high school football coverage. His show is called Inside the 605. Let's revisit the question of the day. Nebraska high school football team forfeited the rest of the game. They were down 63-0 at half to a powerhouse program, Millard South out of Omaha. What do you think of the decision? Text us on the text line, 605-720-1067. Remember that number. That's your text line into the program. You can interact with us, answer the question of the day, win prizes that way, like a $100 gift card to Shenanigans out of Sioux Falls, a $100 gift card to the Firehouse here in Rapid City. So text us. Question of the day answer. Nebraska high school football team forfeits the second half. They were down 63-0 at the half. What do you think of the decision? You're fine with it? Or should try and play it out? 605-720-1067, the Barons-Wilson listener text line. Let's go to the poll results on Twitter. Follow us and follow the show and answer the question there. Our poll, wow, it's heavy. It is heavy. 85% say you're fine with it. You should have a mercy rule at 50. 85% you're fine with it. 15% say you should try and play it out. By the way, this Millard South program, Matt Kearney, the producer of the Nate Brown Show, just found this. Everybody says there's huge powerhouse programs out of Omaha, and Millard South's one of them. Millard South has had 3 teams forfeit the second half. What's going on down there? They've had 3 teams this season forfeit the second half against them. That does it. That something's off there. Something's off. Well, they're so good. They must be. They had 3 teams forfeit the second half. They're going to have to maybe look at something there. They have a continuous clock, but teams are saying, forget it. Forget it. And I'm seeing a reaction out of Nebraska on this story saying, yeah, what we really have to look at is how high school football's evolved into just powerhouse all-star teams and then other high school teams. Like down there in Nebraska, they're saying, we got high school teams and then we have powerhouse, like college-level recruit teams. And so, interesting dynamic, Omaha to Lincoln and across the state. 3 forfeits in the second half. How about that? We're back with Who's Hot and Who's Not. We wrap up the show with that next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
My reason why is community.
My reason why is leadership.
My reason why is to inspire others.
Why do thousands of teenagers here in South Dakota participate in high school sports and activities?
My reason why is friendship.
Their reasons are as diverse as the students themselves. But the one thing they all share is the opportunity to have fun and learn important life lessons. Lessons like supporting their community, learning how to be a leader, and building lifelong friendships.
My reason why is defying expectations.
Is there a grade school or middle school student in your family? Then encourage them to participate in a sport or activity when they go to high school.
My reason why is to make a change in the world.
This message presented by the NFHS and the South Dakota High School Activities Association.
We all know life's busy, and if you get sick, you can get behind pretty quick. That's where Black Hills Urgent Care comes in. No appointments needed, no long waits, just fast, affordable care to get you feeling better quicker. Black Hills Urgent Care has 2 locations in Rapid City on Haynes Avenue and Mountain View Road. You can simply check in online at bhucare.com. That's with the letter U, bhucare.com. When you need care, see the team at Black Hills Urgent Care, the faster way to get better.
Danny Manholt Rapid Chevrolet buys cars. You heard that right. We don't just sell cars, we buy them too. We make cash offers to purchase local cars, trucks, and SUVs every day. Tired of listing online? Tired of messages? Or just tired of making payments? Whatever the reason, make an appointment at rapidchevrolet.com for a no-obligation appraisal. It's fast and free. When you're ready to sell, we're ready to buy. At Danny Manholt Rapid Chevrolet, Rapid City.
This Halloween weekend, the competition gets spooky. Join the Box Elder Event Center for the second annual Pickle Boo Pickleball Tournament, October 26th and 27th. Show off your team's best costumes and compete for a $500 prize. Play in men's and women's doubles on Saturday, mixed doubles on Sunday, or both. Special room rates at Courtyard by Marriott. Make it a Halloween weekend to remember. Register now at thebox.live. Are you ready to boo and dink?
Collins Siding has been the region's premier window siding, door, and gutter installation specialist since 1974. They use only the highest quality materials and never compromise on their workmanship. Collins Siding is licensed, bonded, and their estimates always include labor, materials, and applicable permits and taxes. Collins Siding has been providing top quality service and exceeding high standards for over 45 years, and you can find out how by visiting them at 2016 Cherry Avenue. Collins Siding, 2016 Cherry Avenue, Rapid City.
Ever since Barron's Wilson Funeral Home first opened their doors in Rapid City 140 years ago, they have continued to make personal service their #1 priority. In your time of grief, they offer a personal touch by being at your side through every step of the funeral process. They answer difficult questions and guide you toward other professional services you may need. See for yourself the wide variety of services they can provide for you by visiting their website at barronswilson.com.
Did you miss an interview or great segment on The Nate Brown Show? Just search Nate Brown Show wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, welcome back on. Great show tonight. Thanks for being a part of it. We appreciate it. Thanks for making this show possible. It is South Dakota Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show live. Welcome in everybody from the Black Hills across the state to Sioux Falls. Been a fun first start, and we'll be back at it tomorrow. Who's hot and who's not? Here it is, brought to you by the Pizza Ranch. Who's hot and who's not? We do this every night at this time. Get you plugged in on a couple of things maybe you haven't heard yet. Who's hot category going to the NFC North tonight. I told you the NFC North was going to be good, and the NFC North is number 1. Here's the current NFL point differential leaderboard. This is the teams that lead in point differential with their victories, okay? Vikings number 1, plus 63. Lions number 2, plus 60. Bears number 3, plus 47. Packers number 4, plus 41. That's the NFL point differential leaderboard. Vikings, Lions, Bears, Packers leading it. In our Pizza Ranch Who's Not category, speaking of point differential, here's a leaderboard from yesterday. Yesterday's loss for the Dallas Cowboys to the Detroit Lions, 47-9. 47-9. Historic. My great friend Vic Quick, you might know him. My great friend Vic Quick, a Dallas Cowboys homer, he said, he told me this one, the Cowboys' worst point differential loss since 1985. 47-9 in Dallas. So bad. So bad. Cowboys loss, worst point differential loss since 1985. That's it for the Monday show. We're back at it tomorrow. Join us. The Nate Brown Show is South Dakota Sports Talk Show. And right now, the Nate Brown Show podcast is going up. See you back here tomorrow.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
How do you make everyone's favorite buffet even better? How do you make the country's best chicken even more exciting?